Warriors, welcome to the video, my friends. Today I'm discussing the two paths that people take in order to become sensitized to these sensations, symptoms of anxiety, and therefore lead themselves towards a path toward what's called health anxiety. Sometimes generalized anxiety, sometimes panic attacks. I'm going to explain everything in detail today. And in order for me to explain everything in very important detail to you, I've written down a number of notes that I'm going to be kind of going through time to time in this video. So don't be flustered if you see me looking down and just going over a couple things that I need to get to you today, my friends. Now, there are three emotions that health anxiety sufferers and generalized anxiety sufferers go through on a daily basis, and they are fear, anger, and bewilderment. Okay, fear because they fear the feelings. They create these conclusions. They feel like life is always going to be this way, and they don't see a way out. So there's a lot of fear for people that experience these or are sensitized to these symptoms of anxiety. Anger, because they're angry at where they are. They're angry at people that brought them there. They're angry at the core beliefs they continue to process and act on a daily basis. So there's a lot of anger there, okay? And then finally, bewilderment. Where do I go? How do I find the answers? With so much information out there in the outside world, where do I turn? So there's a lot of fear, anger, bewilderment to someone who is sensitized to these symptoms of anxiety and experiences health anxiety on a daily basis. Comment below if you experience these emotions. Now, in my journey with health anxiety and my anxiety disorder in general, I realized a couple of things. On a daily basis, I spent 4 to 6 hours consciously brooding over what these sensations and symptoms of anxiety mean. I needed to have total control over each and every aspect, situation in my life, and that led to more criticism for myself and criticism for my life, and it was a very heavy way to live, okay? So 4 to 6 hours a day of consciously thinking about what could go wrong on a daily basis, what I might manifest, what I need to do about it, and so on, which led to 42 hours a week of consciously thinking about it, 1,302 hours a month, and 15,624 hours a year. Think about that. Thinking about something that most likely will never ever come true in my life or your life. That's a lot of time spent on irrational ways of seeing ourselves in the world. Don't you agree? Can you imagine spending 15,000 hours a year on something else, on something that would actually benefit you and be productive and helpful in some way? Where would your life be then if you just started to apply as much thinking on the irrational as you do the rational? Your life would be amazing. Every aspect of your life would change, and you'd be proud of yourself. Your self-worth would grow, your self-value would grow, your self-esteem would grow, you would grow, and there would be a lot of benefits to it, my friend. So take into consideration the amount of hours that we spend brooding over something that will never come true. The other thing with health anxiety is many health anxiety sufferers make the mistake of repeating past mistakes. Okay, so if they continue to repeat the same thinking patterns, the same behavioral patterns, the same habits on a daily basis, they say the same words on a daily basis, they ask for the same reassurance on a daily basis, they repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again, which continues the cycle of sensitivity and becomes very difficult to step out of that world that is called the comfort zone and into a world where you can begin swimming in another world with other people, thinking differently and behaving differently. So health anxiety sufferers, as well as generalized anxiety sufferers, spend a lot of time making the same mistakes over and over and over again. A lot of times not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not conscious. It's unconscious. these beliefs, these core thoughts that go through on a daily basis. We attach ourselves to those irrational ways of seeing ourselves and our symptoms of anxiety, and therefore it becomes a cycle. Okay? Now, let me go over the process. The 2 ways that you got yourself to a sensitized place in your life. Number 1 is one emotionally traumatic event that occurred in your life. Number 2 is multiple events that occurred throughout your childhood and you fueled it. This is called character illogical. So you could have either had one emotionally traumatic event that got you highly sensitized to your environments, to certain situations, get-togethers, certain times of day, or whatever, and that caused the sensations to show up and they become strengthened by you avoiding them and giving too much respect to the irrational ways of thinking. So it could have been one event, or it could have been multiple events. Boom, 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 boom. Your parents' words to you, your parents' behaviors, your parents' habits on a daily basis, then that led to some other people and such. So there was a consistent cycle of traumatic events that happened in your life in childhood and then throughout towards your adulthood. Now, the first one I'm going to go through is the one emotionally traumatic event. The one emotionally traumatic event means, and I'm going to go through a number of stages here. There's 7 different stages. If you are sensitized due to one emotionally traumatic event, listen up. First thing that happens is the event occurs. Okay, the event occurs. You see something on the news, you sense something, someone tells you about an illness or something like that. Something happens, someone passes away, whatever it may be. So you become highly sensitized based around that one event that happened to you, okay? And it could be anything. Anything could sensitize a person, absolutely anything. As long as you feel like there was some highly gradable emotions involved, then you have constructed a pathway towards sensitivity. Okay? If there was no emotions involved in that event or that situation, then your unconscious mind doesn't believe it's important enough to hold as a deep memory. So obviously it was highly emotional, that one traumatic event. Now, what happens is in stage 2, your unconscious mind zips the file of what happened, okay, into your mind and body. So it zips it up like a zip file on a computer, okay? So at this point, what happens is the system, your overall system says, we got to make sure that this doesn't happen again, this emotionally traumatic event. We don't really care so much about the event. We're concerned over the reaction of the person. They ran, they tried to fight back, they got these incredible amounts of emotion and sensation start to show up. Okay, we need to zip this up so it doesn't happen again. So every single time you find yourself in a similar situation, event, person, time of day, whatever it is, you start to get the reflexive thoughts, the repetitive, cycling thoughts over and over and over again. Or you get the feelings in your body, that icky feeling in your stomach. Maybe you feel some nausea. Maybe your fingers tingle. Maybe you get the migraines. Maybe you get dizzy. Everybody has different sensations. Every case is different. But again, I'm talking about the combination of the mind and the body, okay, zipping up the file and storing it for later protectiveness, okay? Now, the experience becomes priority for your fight or flight system, okay? Now, these reflexive thoughts, everything is done in the system's power to get your attention if it recognizes something similar to the emotionally traumatic event, okay? So it will get your attention. The event happened, the same person showed up, or a different person with the same shirt. A word that triggered you in the moment of the emotionally traumatic event, the word came up again with the same tone, same distance from you, everything like that. And all of a sudden, you start to get sensitized, sensitive to this situation. And you may not even know what's going on consciously. Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel panicky? I'm just sitting here in my garden, for God's sakes. I'm just calling my friend, having a conversation, anything could trigger the unconscious mind to then create this sensory awareness of what's going on. All of a sudden, the hypothalamus in your brain sends a signal to your adrenal glands. The adrenal glands secrete hormones. Adrenaline gets struck in your body, and all of a sudden, you start running. You leave the environment. You call your friend. You do whatever it takes to feel better, feel different. I know the cycle. So, it happened. It happened. The subconscious mind at this point waits for an answer from the conscious mind to say, okay, can we let go of that past event yet? Can we let go of it and move forward in our lives? Or do we still have to be this highly sensitized person? Do we still have to shut down our system, create depersonalization, make you feel depleted? Do we still have to fuel you with these sensations, these reflexive thoughts? Tell us, conscious mind. Tell us if we need to hold on to this same memory in the same way, or should we start thinking about it differently? People don't think about it differently, and therefore they run the same unconscious programming over and over again. So the sensations continue. They stay alive and they grow in strength because you think the same way in the anxious situation, you feel the same way about your emotions and your sensations, you act the same way, and therefore the system says, okay, the emotionally traumatic event must continue being rotated like a record player on a record player, and it goes around and around and around until the conscious mind says enough is enough. The event occurred because of this, because of something else. It occurred and I took a lesson from it. I now accept what happened. I will express what happened. And therefore, if there's enough emotion and repetition in that way of thinking, in the moment of anxiousness in the present moment, the unconscious mind goes, okay, we can let go of that memory, and therefore we don't need to fuel this person with symptoms anymore. So a new mental direction, a new emotional direction, a new behavioral direction begins. The lesson from the past has been learned. And if the lesson from the past has been learned, the unconscious mind gets the signal. But it doesn't happen by talking to someone. It happens by feeling differently. It happens by acting differently. It happens by thinking about what's going on differently. These symptoms are a signal. They are not life-threatening. I am fine and I am safe. That's what the doctor says. That's what my parents say. That's what my friends say. That's what my dog says. And so life goes on. And if we can create enough courage and embrace uncertainty just for a short amount of time, a 3-month period, we can reprogram the unconscious mind. Uncertainty meaning, hey, sensations, there you are. I know you're a signal. I will take you with me as a companion. I will not react instinctively, and therefore I know that I'm safe, and so is this environment. Let's go. I think it was Winston Churchill, which I think he said, if you're going through hell, keep going. In the health anxiety context, that means take your symptoms and sensations with you as you neutralize your emotions to them. So, lesson of the day. See anxiety as stored memory. See it as an opportunity for change when it arises, and instead of running or partaking in similar ways of thinking, focus on the opposite of what your intuition says. Run, fight back, what could it be? No. The opposite of that is this instead. So with enough emotion and repetition in my thoughts, I will be able to overcome this state of emotional being that I am currently in. I'm ready for that journey because I know that on this journey there will be emotional ups and downs. And as long as I anticipate those, I'm in good hands. I'm moving in the right direction. So that whole cycle that I just went through is based around one emotionally traumatic event. Now, there's also the opposite of that, characterological. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of events, lots of trauma, lots of emotion, lots of grief, lots of disservice to your overall well-being because of your parents, what they said, what happened, you got bullied, all that stuff. Okay? So there could be multiple events that now cause you the sensations, the symptoms, the sensitivity, and therefore you're in a very difficult emotional state. Let me explain. So a buildup of, this is repetition, a buildup of thoughts and behaviors get transferred into you, not onto you, into you. Everything that your parents said, everything that happened between the ages of 0 and 10 went into you, in here, and around here, which I'm referring to as your energy field, okay, which we all have one that can be detected, okay, multiple feet away from the body. So these suggestions, these behaviors got transferred into you, okay? Then your brain, having been very plastic at a young age, neuroplasticity, meaning open to suggestions, open to everything. Oh, look, purple flower. Oh, the spider on the flower. I don't like spiders, meaning spiders, purple flower, bad. There's a pairing right there. Okay, that hopefully that explains a little bit. Having been very plastic, sees the fear as truth. Okay, so everything that you've gone through at a young age and you continued behaving like and thinking like became your truth, became your identity, became your character. As time went on, these fears and avoidance behaviors grew in strength. They got stronger and stronger and stronger. They became who you are as a person. I must avoid that. I must avoid that. I must speak like this. I must only think that I'm good enough in this manner. I lack this. I lack that. There are certain blueprints, beliefs that we grow up with that we strengthen over time. We do it consciously because we're scared of change and we're scared of going against what we were taught because it's wrong in our books. Or we do it unconsciously. We don't even know what we're doing. We just do what we've repetitively been doing, what's familiar to us, and we continue living our lives sensitized. Okay? Now, these sensations of anxiety accompany the person as they form a very narrow view of reality. A very narrow view of reality. Okay? So my reality is 9 to 5 work, say hi to the kids, give them a hug, pet the dog, watch my show, go to bed, and every time I want to do something different or feel different or look at my sensations differently, I get this block, this roadblock saying, no, it's not like that. And that's where the resistance shows up. Anytime you want to change something about yourself, whether it's a belief or a thought or a behavior, or way up there, your identity as a whole, resistance will show up. Let's just understand that's just the way it is. As long as we can anticipate the resistance showing up, we're going to be just fine because we saw it coming and therefore we can deal with it much, much better. Okay? Now, here's what we need to do. Okay? An acceptance of 2 things must happen at this point. You ready? Number 1. What you were fed is one person's perspective, not yours. Okay? Second thing is there's a new way of seeing yourself and the world that feeds into your development and self-growth. Okay? So we must understand these 2 things. It wasn't you, it was somebody else's perspective. Okay? And there's another way to see everything. As much as you were fed that there wasn't, there is. Okay? So these are the beginning steps. The beginning steps you need to take to become desensitized from your symptoms, from these reflexive thoughts, from these behaviors that no longer serve you. Okay? Now, at this point, you begin consciously using new language internally and externally with other people. So what starts to happen is your language changes. Transition? I never used that word before. It feels weird. That's called cognitive emotive dissonance. When something feels weird and therefore you label it as being wrong, but it isn't wrong. Okay, it just feels wrong. Just because something feels wrong doesn't mean it's wrong. So you start using words like transition, powerful, moving forward, good day, pleasant day, neutral day. You're going, where did these words come from? I'm becoming somebody else, but I can't. Can I? What's going to happen in the world of the unknown? What if I do get better? I don't know what life is like when it is better. What if I don't try to control my sensation symptoms? And on we go. So this is the transitional stage, okay? When you can begin to see that your words are changing, okay? Your internal talk is changing. This is a good sign. And when people start to give you comments, it's an even better sign. Hey, you look different today. Wow, I've never heard you say that before. Oh my goodness, your life seems to be changing in those aspects. Yes, that's what we want for you, okay? Now, in time, final stage, in time you become comfortable in your own skin. In time you become comfortable in your own skin and you reach what's called unconscious competence, meaning you just think this way like you're a robot. It's automatic. It's like walking, it's like eating, it's like sleeping. You think this way, you talk this way, you behave this way, you see yourself in a good way. Everything becomes automatic in time, okay? And so when this starts to occur, this unconscious competence, you have fully moved away from a place of sensitivity and you have then completely labeled and judged your symptoms of anxiety differently. They are no longer a threat to your life. The emotionally traumatic events that cause this sensitivity has a different perspective and a different viewpoint now. You can see how those change. The way you see yourself changes. The symptom changes. And when all these things change, my friends, what happens is your vision changes for your life. Your vision changes. These are the practical tools I want you guys to run with. But today it's about a deeper understanding of why. Why? Because if we can figure out the why, we're opening the floodgates towards the techniques that you can learn that will change you permanently and as a whole. I love you so much, my friends. You are more than anxiety. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell below for all the notifications for my videos, and share this video with someone who needs it, or a forum or a group that needs it. It will help. Have a wonderful day.